This one's gonna be on unemployment, but I'll get to that in a second. I have to talk about my day first. I like talking about my day, I find. So I didn't sleep very well last night. I got like about an hour of good rest. We were trying a window chiller, a little AC unit that you put in your window because this room gets really hot during the day. Well, it's bearable, but the pops found a solution that he really wanted to try, and I'm like, why not? The problem is there's no noise insulation, so the cicadas at night were just, and my ears are still ringing. It was a good try, but I got no sleep. But I did my laundry. I cleaned the room. I did the chores. Made a possible contact with a medical center, so who knows? Maybe back in the employment game soon, boys. Fingers crossed. Um, but even then, there's been a lot of, and I have to call it out for what it is, self-hatred. It's this feeling that I'm not supposed to be here, but there's nothing I can do about it currently. I'm doing everything I can. I know that I am. Besides probably just sucking it up and getting the job at the McDonald's. But, that's really the only thing that I can think of at this point. Just for the interim, right? I may just have to do that. But I wanted to talk about a perception that I think that a lot of us are coming around to understanding. Something that I discovered in a YouTube channel that I had discovered recently. I'd have to, actually, maybe I can just find it real quick. Uh, doo, 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 doo. I've probably lost a million different viewers by taking all the pauses that I take. Oh well, I didn't save it anywhere. The point is there's something that we've noticed in that people are treated differently when they're unemployed. Friends, family, strangers. Like if it's a consensus and it's an observation that if people that are close to you find out that you're unemployed, the tone in the room shifts a little bit. And it's in a way that over time and in volume makes people feel, the people that are targeted by this feel like second class citizens. Like there's an unspoken caste system, and if you're unemployed when you're supposed to be employed by, the ripe age of like 3 years old. It's satire, by the way. Uh, then you're just worthless. But then there's a double standard that this person mentioned as well, that accomplishment gets a really neutral, almost like non response, right? And the idea is like, when did we get so bad? Not we as in you and I, maybe, I don't know, maybe we're a part of this. Social media allegedly has been making all of us more narcissistic. So probably you and I a little bit, who knows. Narcissism, I think, don't quote me on it, but I think it's just like you think about yourself more often, like way more often, you know. I think I am comparison judgment sort of thing. And I see it personally in family and in hindsight and retrospect in some of the people I used to hang out with. The ones that kind of like put more of their lives on social media than others. But that's really neither here nor there. It's more of a tinfoil hat theory about unemployment and this sort of implicit idea that more relationships are more transactional than we give them credit for. And the moment certain statuses are met, you tend to get certain labels. There's a really important word that comes to mind for me, and that word is division. You know, I'm no historian, but when I think about the word division, the places in time that come to mind are the Civil War, our our all the fucking the time the different data points and timelines involving segregation. There's an other involved in division, right? Something gets othered, someone gets othered. They're not in the group. They're different, and it's a difference that makes them weird and you shouldn't be around them because they're bad. Because they're not like us, so that makes them bad basically. If social media, if the engine itself runs on outrage and reaction, and that very same division, at least from my perspective, seems to be thriving in places like Twitter. Oh, sorry, X, as it wants to be called now. Maybe that division has gotten a little more deeply rooted than we give it credit for. I mean, families that are like the same skin color are like ostracizing each other because of these things. But I can recall in the early 2010s, because now that's a statement that I can say, the early 2010s, like the early 90s or the 80s. No, we're saying the 2010s now, boys. We are there, and we're old. 25, by the way. Uh, cute, cutesy anime romance like scenes before some flashy thingamabob or some part in some episode that gets a hard jump cut to somebody in a uniform sitting on a lawn chair with a beer bottle in their hand, pointing at the camera and saying, "Get a life," before he and his friends laugh at the camera. You know, it's edgy internet humor, right? But I kind of look back in hindsight and I'm like, where else could this kind of division like start? The internet popularized a lot of this. The get a job, just get a house if you're homeless kind of thing, like started as satire here. There's a lot of, I'm not going to say it started here, that may not be fair, but there's a lot of it that got like dramatized here as meme culture too. And the people that designed what we're calling the outrage machine, like they're really brilliant people. You know, like we're talking about behavioral psychologists that do this for a living, right? This is their thing, some of them. How are we so sure that this wasn't considered as well? That in order to drive a further profit, and if I may put my tinfoil hat on for a second, better control and make the populace more predictable and easier to persuade, leverage division in every possible way we can manifest in order to get whatever we want out of them. Spend more money, vote for this person, say this about that person if we want this politician to lose credibility. While at the same time, we build surveillance profile on every single person who gives their facial data and driver's license for some background check before a digital interview or for some digital job application. The words surveillance state are coming to mind, but I think it's, science fiction as much as we love it. I think the book was 1987 where everybody was being like watched by their television screen. I never read it myself, but it looked really interesting. Like, this is the real world we're talking about. This isn't as obvious. It's never that obvious. And it's not that obvious for a reason, because let's say if it were true, people would just mobilize and like down the government. Maybe, possibly. Who knows? Like, again, this is the real world. Maybe people wouldn't at this point. I don't know. But I don't trust people, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't trust people to do that. I don't trust myself to do that. But that's a whole nother topic. Because if I can't trust myself to mobilize, how could I trust anybody else to? And if nobody will, then how does any change happen? I guess I did say it, didn't I? So how did we get this bad? That was kind of the question this person asked at the end of their, not real, it's like midway through their video. You know who you are, which probably applies to like a lot of people. So, hey guys, we're all in the same spiritual constellation of the unemployable population. Although no one wants to talk about us yet, but we exist. Hi. We're doing our best. College debt and all. Cough, cough. Sorry. Um, I don't think there's a particular place where we got so bad. There's no point in history, but I think we can look at how these tools, social media, the phone, the phone game, are being leveraged, and we see how what people are becoming. And in my mind, the people that created this, they're too smart. I'm a pretty stupid person. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not that smart. I'll full stop. But these are some really smart people making these devices. I don't see how they didn't notice and consider how deeply rooted that outrage reactionary machine would become, that family members judge and ostracize their own children for not keeping a job, for something as simple as a job. Like, how is that something like that, like a somehow an oversight in the creation of social media and the study of human behavior? Maybe we give them the benefit of the doubt and we say not back then. And I only realize now there are two. Ooh, there are two GIFs actually showing. Oh, okay, wait, I could just get rid of this one. Okay, cool. I hope that it doesn't look like anything changed. Anyway, it's just fascinating to me because, like, I think there's something deeper going on here. I don't know if it's specifically that the 1% have been out to get us, that the government has been wanting to turn us into complacent drones by encoding something that was already there to be like a perfect way to make people like predictable through outrage and reaction and the fallout of everybody being divided on shit down to the familial unit. and all the way up into the corporate sphere and however farther, because I mean, come on, there's more to life than this job. Shit, there's so much more to life than this. There just is, just point blank, period. There's more to life than a job. I'm not saying anything about money. I'm not saying anything about family, finances, property. I'm just pointing out employment. There's more to life than a job. That's all I'm saying. Just leaving that there. There's so much in that that I don't want to touch because I know it's going to take a lot of time to just wrap my head around. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to suggest one thing that I think we can all do about it. And it's something I had to do before I made this video that helped me to put myself in a space where I could like step out of the negativity, the self-hatred, I'll just call it what it is, that I was going through today. And it's just leaving the phone in the other room. If you have a meditation pillow or some cushion, like sitting on the floor helps, I find. But if it's uncomfortable, you can sit in a chair too. And you just kind of stare at a wall for a while. I close my eyes and that worked too, but kind of having something to focus on is nice. You could tape like a picture if you want on the wall too, that'd be fine as well, but kind of having something to focus on that isn't a screen. And you can crave the phone if you want. You can have a craving to do something else. That's okay. But we're kind of just sitting for a while. And I think I just sat there for like 10 minutes. I didn't pay attention to the time, but I think like 10 minutes passed before I realized, oh, I know the video I want to make. So I'm going to mute and we're going to do that. And I want you to kind of set a timer and just leave it on your desk here. And you'll hear it when it goes off. Probably, probably not. If you don't, it's fine. You know, you can just sit there for longer. Hey. And we're gonna let our emotions process. We're gonna let them kind of do their thing. And the important part is if something rises in you, whatever form it takes, tears, anger, whatever, you're allowed to feel that. You don't need my permission or anybody's permission to feel what comes up. But if you really want something to focus on, you can draw, I should say, you can pay attention to the breath as well. And just kind of ground yourself in the feeling of the chest expanding and the feeling of the chest shrinking. Breaths that really fill the lungs. If staring at the wall doesn't work, which is fine, like there are millions of different techniques and something works differently for everyone. But I'm going to mute up and we're going to say 10 minutes. No, yeah, actually, I'll say 10 minutes of silence, dead air. And yeah, I'm just going to hit the mute button on this thing and we're just going to be. There it is. We're just going to be in silence. Highly recommend different room. Leave the device here. Come back in 10. I'll still be here. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. shit. I think it was 19 minutes, so technically 11 past. It's 29 minute, actually 30 minutes now, so I'll say probably a minute to come back is probably good. So call it a happy accident. Yeah, I like it. No matter what technology is used for, I think our greatest tool is our silence. And not in the way of letting people kind of say and do what they want. I mean, when your reaction is being gauged, the only winning move, and sorry about the lawnmower if you can hear it, the winning move is to not play at all. You don't have to open the phone. You can crave it if you want, but if you don't open the phone, then there's a little less reaction. And if you choose to even sit for 5 or 10 minutes on the floor or lay on your couch for a while, I think that something really beautiful happens and we gain a little semblance of clarity. And that goes a long way. So, whatever division, tinfoil hat theory is the reason for so many people being unemployed right now who have bachelor's degrees and can't find a job and etc. etc. Um, know that I'm proud of you. And a job isn't your whole life. You're the one living your life. And you can do with it whatever you want. There's no wrong answer, not to me. So, no matter what, I'm proud of you and I will always be proud of you. Drink some water, take care of yourself. I'm probably going to go take a nap in a little bit.